5 years. 5 years since I last felt anything real. 5 years of corner offices and conference calls. 5 years of mornings that blurred together and nights that never seemed to end. 5 years since I buried my daughter. I thought I had mastered the art of being numb. I thought I had built walls so high and so thick that nothing could ever reach me again. Then a 5-year-old girl tugged on my sleeve in an airport and asked me one simple question, and everything I had built to protect myself came crashing down. This is that story. Chicago O'Hare International Airport, December 24th, 8:47 p.m. The terminal was a living, breathing organism of chaos. Holiday travelers flooded every corridor like rivers breaking their banks. Families rushed past each other, dragging overstuffed suitcases. Children wailed. Couples snapped at each other over missed connections. The overhead speakers crackled with delay announcements, one bleeding into the next until they became meaningless noise. Outside the massive windows, snow fell in thick, relentless curtains. Weather advisories flashed angry red warnings on every screen. A historic blizzard, the meteorologists called it, the kind that comes once in a generation. None of it touched me. I sat alone in a quiet corner of Terminal C, far from the crowds. My name is Marcus Caldwell. I am 48 years old. I run a company worth more than the GDP of some small countries. I own homes on 3 continents. The watch on my wrist costs more than most people earn in a year. I also have absolutely nothing that matters. In my hands, I held a teddy bear. It was small and worn. One button eye dangled from a loose thread. The stitching on its left ear had come undone years ago. The brown fur was faded in patches where small fingers had gripped it tight during thunderstorms and bad dreams. The bear's name was Mr. Bear. My daughter named him that when she was 3 because 3-year-olds are wonderfully unoriginal with names. Her name was Charlotte. She died 5 years ago, 2 days before her 6th birthday. Leukemia. Aggressive, unstoppable. The teddy bear was supposed to be her birthday present. I bought it. I wrapped it in pink paper with silver ribbons. I never got to give it to her. Now I carry it everywhere. A relic, a reminder. The only thing I have left of the little girl who made my life mean something. I came to airports on Christmas Eve not because I had somewhere to go. I came because the noise of strangers was easier to bear than the silence of my penthouse. My flight to New York blinked delayed indefinitely on the board above gate 17. I didn't notice. I had stopped noticing things 5 years ago. At the other end of Terminal C, a very different kind of story was unfolding. Emma Mitchell moved through the crowd like a woman being hunted. Her hand gripped her daughter's fingers so tightly her knuckles had gone white. She was 32, with honey blonde hair escaping from a messy ponytail and dark circles under her eyes that spoke of too many sleepless nights. Her coat was secondhand. Her boots had scuffed toes. Everything about her whispered barely surviving, but her eyes told a different story. They were sharp, alert, constantly scanning, because Emma was running, not from a stranger, not from a bad boyfriend. She was running from her own mother. Margaret Harrison was 67 years old, wealthy, ruthless, and absolutely convinced that she knew what was best for everyone, especially for her 5-year-old granddaughter. For the past 8 months, Margaret had been fighting Emma in court, trying to take Lily away. She had money. She had an army of lawyers. She had connections in places that mattered. Emma had nothing but desperation and a mother's love. This flight to Portland was supposed to be their escape. A friend with a spare room, a fresh start, a chance to build a life where Margaret couldn't reach them. But Margaret was clever. She had been tracking Emma's credit card for months, waiting for exactly this moment. The second Emma purchased those plane tickets, Margaret knew precisely where to find her. Emma didn't know she was walking into a trap. "Mommy, I want to see the candy." Emma's heart stuttered. Lily, 5 years old, brown curls tumbling from beneath a knitted cat ear hat, was pointing at a shop window filled with giant candy canes and towers of chocolate. Not now, baby. We have to get to the gate. But Lily had already slipped free. Before Emma could react, her daughter darted into the crowd, a flash of red coat disappearing between travelers. Lily! Emma ran. She pushed past families and businessmen. She screamed her daughter's name until her throat burned. The crowd swallowed her voice. Her daughter was gone. Lily was not afraid. She knew she should probably be scared. Mommy always said if you got lost, you should find a nice grown-up and stay in one place. But the candy shop had been so sparkly, and then there were so many legs everywhere, and when she turned around, Mommy had vanished. So Lily did what Lily always did when things got confusing. She looked for someone who needed help. Mommy always said that when you help other people, magic happens. Lily believed in magic with her whole heart. She wandered through the terminal until she spotted him, a tall man sitting alone by a window. He wore fancy clothes like the men in movies. His shoes were very shiny, but his eyes were the saddest eyes Lily had ever seen. He was holding a teddy bear, an old one, with a loose button eye and a torn ear. He held it the way Lily held her own stuffed animals, like it was precious. Lily walked right up to him and tugged on his sleeve. The man startled. He turned and Lily saw something flicker across his face. Surprise, confusion. And beneath it all, something that looked like old pain. She tilted her head and asked the question that would change everything. "Are you lost too, mister?" The words hit me like a physical blow. "Are you lost too?" My daughter's voice echoed from 5 years ago. "You look lost, Daddy, like you can't find your way home." I stared at the little girl in front of me. Brown curls, round eyes, a gap-toothed smile. She couldn't have been more than 5. The same age Charlotte was when she... "I can help you find your mommy," Lily announced with complete confidence. "I'm really good at finding things. One time I found Mommy's keys in the refrigerator, which was very silly. Every logical instinct screamed at me. Call security, find her parents, follow protocol, stay uninvolved. But something about this child's voice, something about the way she looked at me without fear, without judgment, like she could see straight through every wall I had built. "Are you lost?" I heard myself ask. Lily nodded, but her smile didn't waver. "Mommy was with me, but I saw the candy shop. They had the really big candy canes. When I looked back, Mommy was gone." She shrugged. "But it's okay. I'm finding her. Want to come with me?" She extended her hand, a small hand in a purple mitten with a hole in the thumb. I stood up. I took her hand. "Let's find her together." We had walked perhaps 30 feet when I heard footsteps behind us. "Excuse me, sir?" I turned. 2 airport security officers stood there. The taller one, Reynolds according to his badge, had polite eyes that missed nothing. "Is that your daughter?" I felt the accusation beneath the question. A wealthy man in an expensive suit, a little girl in a second-hand coat. We didn't match. Before I could answer, a scream cut through the terminal noise. "Lily!" A woman came running, honey blonde hair flying, eyes wild with terror. She dropped to her knees and pulled Lily into her arms so fiercely I could see her whole body shaking. "Don't you ever do that again," she breathed. "Don't you ever." "Mommy, the man helped me. He's not bad. He's just sad." The woman, Emma, looked up at me. Really looked, and I saw recognition flash in her eyes. Not of my face, of something deeper, something she had seen in her own reflection on the hardest nights. Then another voice shattered the moment. "Emma!" Emma went rigid. An older woman emerged from the crowd. Silver hair swept into an elegant chignon, a fur coat that cost more than most cars. The kind of posture that came from decades of getting exactly what she wanted. Margaret Harrison smiled, but the expression never touched her eyes. Did you really think you could take my granddaughter and disappear? Emma's face had gone the color of old snow. Mother, how did you find you? Margaret's smile sharpened. Darling, I've been tracking your credit card for months. The moment you bought those tickets, I knew exactly where you'd be. She turned to Officer Reynolds with practiced grace. Officer, this woman is attempting to flee the state with my granddaughter. I have documentation showing she's in violation of our custody arrangement. Emma's voice cracked. That's not true. There's no court order that says, I have the paperwork right here. Margaret produced a folder from her designer bag. Temporary custody agreement. Pending investigation into the mother's fitness. I watched Emma crumble. Watched Lily's eyes go wide with confusion. Watched a family being torn apart on Christmas Eve by a woman who wielded money like a weapon. Something woke up inside me. Something I thought had died in that hospital room 5 years ago. Those documents are irrelevant. Everyone turned. I stepped forward, letting my voice carry the quiet authority of 2 decades commanding boardrooms. Whatever custody dispute exists between you is a civil matter. These officers are airport security. They have no jurisdiction over family court proceedings. Margaret's eyes narrowed. And you are? Marcus Caldwell, Caldwell Industries. Even Margaret recognized the name. Her expression flickered, just for a moment, with something like caution. Mr. Caldwell is correct, Reynolds said, clearly relieved to have an exit from this situation. Civil matters need to go through proper legal channels, ma'am. Margaret's composure cracked slightly. She looked at me with undisguised venom. You're involving yourself in something you don't understand. Perhaps, but I understand that a child shouldn't be used as a weapon. Not on Christmas Eve. Not ever. Margaret held my gaze for a long moment. Then she turned to Emma. This isn't over. You can run as far as you want. I will find you, and I will take what's mine. She walked away, heels clicking against the tile like a countdown. Emma stood frozen, Lily pressed against her legs. Thank you, she whispered, but you shouldn't have done that. She'll come after you now, too. Let her try. My phone buzzed. I ignored it. 20 minutes later, the announcement came. Attention all passengers, due to severe weather conditions, Chicago O'Hare International Airport is now under complete ground stop. All flights are canceled until further notice. Outside, the blizzard had become a wall of white. Wind screamed against the windows. Snow piled against the doors like it was trying to bury the whole world. We were trapped. I looked at Emma, who stood clutching Lily's hand, exhaustion and fear written across her face. There's a VIP lounge upstairs, I said. Quiet, warm. They have food. Emma stiffened. We don't have the right tickets for that. You don't need tickets. You're with me. She hesitated, pride warring with practicality. Lily tugged her hand. Please, Mommy. The man said they have hot chocolate. With marshmallows, I added. The mini kind. Emma's resistance crumbled. Just for a few hours. The VIP lounge was a different world. Soft lighting, plush furniture, a snack bar that made Lily's eyes go round as dinner plates. We settled into a corner by the windows, watching the snow rage outside. Lily discovered a checkerboard and insisted on playing. Whoever loses has to tell a real secret, she announced. Not a fake one, a real one. I looked at Emma. Emma looked at me. Neither of us wanted to play this game, but Lily was already setting up the pieces, humming jingle bells under her breath. We played. She won. Of course she won. Your turn, Mr. Marcus. Tell a secret. I hesitated. Then I pulled Mr. Bear from my coat pocket. I bought this bear for my daughter. It was supposed to be her birthday present. I ran my thumb over the faded fur. But she got sick, and she went to heaven before I could give it to her. Silence settled over us like new snow. Lily tilted her head. What was her name? Charlotte. That's pretty. Lily thought for a moment. I think Charlotte is happy you still have Mr. Bear, Because it means you still love her. I couldn't speak. We played again. Emma lost. Your turn, Mommy. Emma looked at her daughter, at me, at the storm raging outside. My secret, she said quietly, is that I almost lost you once, Lily. When you were 2, a car accident, a truck ran a red light. Her voice trembled. That's why I'm scared of everything now. Flying, driving, letting you out of my sight for even a second. She met my eyes. Because I know how fast the world can take away the person you love most. Something passed between us in that moment. Recognition, understanding. The shared language of people who have looked into the abyss and somehow survived. We're not so different, I said quietly. You and I. Emma almost smiled. No, I don't think we are. Midnight arrived softly. Lily had fallen asleep on the couch, curled up like a kitten. Emma sat beside her, absently stroking her daughter's hair. At 12:07 a.m., Lily stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. Without fully waking, she reached into her backpack and pulled out something wrapped in a crumpled napkin. A cookie, homemade, crumbled. She pressed it into my hands. I made this for Santa, she murmured, but you should have it instead. Why me? Because Mommy says good things should be shared. Her eyes were already closing again. And Santa has lots of cookies, but you don't have anyone to give you any. I stared at the broken cookie. 5 years of meaningless luxury, watches, cars, art I never looked at. This crumbled cookie given freely by a child who had nothing was worth more than all of it combined. I wrapped it carefully in my handkerchief and placed it in my wallet. My phone buzzed. A text from my assistant. Boss, someone named Margaret Harrison is contacting our board members. She's threatening to go to the media. Claims you're involved in a child abduction situation. Stock could take a serious hit. What do you want me to do? I looked at Emma and Lily, sleeping peacefully. I thought about the company I had built, the billions at stake, the shareholders, the reputation. Then I thought about a little girl who gave cookies to sad strangers because she believed in magic. I turned off my phone. Morning came gray and pale. The storm had weakened. Flights were slowly resuming. The airport stirred back to life. Margaret was waiting at the lounge exit. She had 2 lawyers flanking her like attack dogs. 2 police officers stood nearby, looking uncomfortable. I have an official court order, Margaret announced, brandishing papers. Lily Mitchell is not to leave Illinois pending a full custody evaluation. Emma went white. You can't. That's not. I absolutely can. And I have. Margaret's smile was triumphant. You should have thought about the consequences before you tried to run, Emma. I watched Emma's face crumble, watched Lily shrink against her mother's legs, watched a family being destroyed by someone who viewed love as a transaction, and I made a decision. Mrs. Harrison, my voice cut through the tension like a blade. I'd like to propose an alternative arrangement. Margaret barely glanced at me. There is no alternative. The court ruled that Lily needs stability, financial security, a proper environment. I stepped forward. What if Emma has all of those things? From whom? Margaret laughed. She works double shifts as a waitress. From me. The laughter died. I am prepared, I continued, to establish a trust fund for Lily's education and long-term welfare. I will provide housing assistance in New York, where Emma has been offered a position with a publishing company, and I am prepared to testify in family court regarding Emma's fitness as a mother. Margaret's eyes narrowed to slits. You've known them for 12 hours. No court will take you seriously. They'll take me seriously, I said quietly. Because I'm not just a character witness. I looked at Emma, at Lily, at the life I had stopped living 5 years ago. Then I said the words that changed everything. Emma and I are in a relationship. We've been together for some time. We kept it private because of her custody situation. but I'm prepared to testify to that in court and to make our commitment official." Emma's eyes went wide. We had known each other for 12 hours, but Lily, bright, magical Lily, looked up with a radiant smile. "Mr. Marcus is Mommy's boyfriend." Margaret's composure shattered. "This is absurd. This is obviously a lie." "Is it?" I stepped closer. "You want a legal battle, Mrs. Harrison? Let's have one. You have money, I have more. You have lawyers, I have better ones. You want to drag this through the courts for years while Lily grows up, watching the two of you fight over her like a prize?" I let the words land. "Or you can walk away. Let Emma raise her daughter in peace and find something better to do with the years you have left than trying to destroy your own child." Margaret was trembling with rage. She looked at the officers, at her lawyers, searching for support. No one met her eyes. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet." She turned and walked away, her heels striking the floor like gunshots. The boarding call came 20 minutes later. Flight 847 to Portland, now boarding at gate 23. Emma stood holding Lily's hand, looking at me like I was something she couldn't quite understand. "You just told a room full of people we're in a relationship." "I did. We've known each other for 12 hours. "I know. You could have destroyed your reputation, your company, everything you've built." I thought about that, about the billions at stake, about the empire I had spent decades constructing. "Charlotte used to say that the best things happen when you stop being scared." I smiled. "I've been scared for 5 years, Emma. I'm tired of being scared." I reached into my coat and pulled out Mr. Bear. "Take him." "Marcus, I can't. That's all you have left of her." "No." I placed the bear gently in Lily's arms. "Charlotte wanted Mr. Bear to be loved, really loved, not carried around by a man who forgot how to feel." Lily clutched the bear tight. "I'll take care of him forever, I promise." "I know you will, sweetheart." Emma's eyes were bright with tears. "Will I see you again?" "Count on it." 3 months later, the first email arrived at 2 a.m. Emma had attached her manuscript, "The Girl Who Got Lost But Found Everything," a story about a little girl in an airport, a sad man with a teddy bear, and the magic that happens when strangers choose kindness over fear. I read it in one sitting. Then I forwarded it to a publisher friend with a single note: "This needs to exist in the world." 6 months later, my phone rang at 7 a.m. Emma was crying so hard I could barely understand her. "They want to publish it. They actually want to publish it." "I know. You did this. You sent it to them." "I just made sure it reached the right people." "You wrote something true, Emma. That's not something I can give you. That was always yours." There was a long pause. "The dedication," she said quietly. "Did you see what I wrote?" I had. I had read it 17 times. For the man who was lost and the little girl who found him. For everyone still searching for their way home. And for those brave enough to stop and help others find theirs. "I saw it," I said. "I meant every word." "I know." 8 months later, a letter arrived from Margaret's lawyers. She was dropping the custody case. Without Marcus Caldwell's resources backing Emma, Margaret had held all the power. With him, she had nothing. The fight had become unwinnable. Emma called me that night, her voice shaking. "It's over. She's done. I have full custody." "How does it feel?" "Like I can finally breathe." 10 months later, the book launch was held in a small bookstore in Manhattan. Emma stood at a podium, reading from her dedication page. Lily sat in the front row, Mr. Bear clutched in her arms, cleaned and patched, but still perfectly imperfect. I sat beside them, listening to Emma's voice fill the room. When she finished, the audience applauded. But Emma wasn't looking at them. She was looking at me. 1 year later, Chicago O'Hare International Airport, December 23rd. The terminal was chaos again. Holiday travelers everywhere. Christmas music playing through the speakers. Snow falling gently outside. Not a blizzard this time, just a soft white blessing. I stood at the arrivals gate wearing jeans and a dark sweater. No suit, no briefcase, just a bouquet of winter flowers and a hardcover copy of The Girl Who Got Lost But Found Everything. The book was a bestseller now. Awards, reviews, translation deals in a dozen languages. None of that mattered. What mattered was the dedication page, worn soft from my fingers tracing the words. What mattered was the crumbled cookie still tucked in my wallet. What mattered was the family walking toward me through the crowd. Emma saw me first. Her face lit up like sunrise. Then Lily spotted me and broke into a run. "Mr. Marcus!" She launched herself into my arms, and I caught her, spinning her around while she giggled. "You found us again," she said breathlessly. I held her tight, pressing my forehead to hers. "No, sweetheart. I came to where I knew you'd be. People who matter shouldn't have to be found twice." Emma reached us, slightly out of breath, eyes shining. "Hi," she said. "Hi," I replied. For a moment, we just looked at each other. A year of emails and phone calls and video chats. A year of falling in love across a distance. A year of waiting for this moment. I took her hand. "I hear someone needs help apartment hunting in New York." "I might," she smiled. "Know anyone who's good with real estate?" "I know the city pretty well." Lily grabbed both our hands, one in each of hers. "Can we go now? I want hot chocolate and cookies, the good kind with the sprinkles." I laughed, a real laugh, full and warm and alive. "You're still the boss, aren't you?" We walked through the glass doors into the winter evening. Snow fell softly around us. The city glittered with Christmas lights. The world felt new. Lily looked up at her mother. "Mommy, are we still looking for something?" Emma glanced at me. My hand was still in hers. Her hand was still in mine. "No, baby," she said softly. "I think we've finally been found." 5 years. 5 years since Charlotte died. 5 years of emptiness. 5 years of going through the motions of a life that had stopped meaning anything. Then a little girl in a cat ear hat tugged on my sleeve and asked if I was lost. People ask me now what I believe in. I used to say I believed in numbers, logic, things I could control. Now I believe in magic, not the kind with wands and spells, the real kind. The kind that happens when a child gives a stranger a crumbled cookie because she thinks he looks sad. The kind that happens when two broken people find each other in a snowstorm and decide to stop running. Charlotte asked me to promise I wouldn't get lost. For 5 years, I thought I kept that promise by not feeling anything. I was wrong. The way to keep that promise wasn't to stop feeling. It was to feel again, to let a little girl take my hand, to let her mother into my heart, to walk forward even when I couldn't see the path. Charlotte would have loved Lily. She would have loved Emma. And somewhere I know she's smiling because her daddy finally found his way home. And this time, he's not alone. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes all it takes is one small moment, a question, a cookie, a hand extended in kindness to change everything. Remember, the people we're meant to find always find their way back to us. Until next time.